Okay, so we have questions and responses to unanswered prayers. This is just a few of our thoughts onto what unanswered prayers mean, why we get them, and just understanding a bit about them, because they can be quite demotivating. It seems like you're
100%.
talking to no one. It's a bit seems pointless sometimes, but Josh.
Often people think when they pray. Quite, often one of the responses that the church gives is that God's answer to that is yes to the prayer, which in case everyone's happy, no, in which case you kind of got to accept that and move on, or later. So the timing is not now. And although there's value in God's timing, and God does have a plan for you, and waiting, and maybe that prayer is not being answered, or well, maybe it is being answered, but the later is saying it's not going to happen now, it's going to happen in the right timing. There is value in that. But I think there's also a good idea in that kind of get rid of this yes, no, maybe thing, yes, no, later thing, but the fact that the journey of questioning God and seeing some questions answered, some prayers answered and some not, that whole journey and process is an answered prayer, because the way God changes us and this shapes us us through each season, if we choose to walk with him each day, is how that experience in itself is evidence of God in our life. It doesn't have to be a yes no, or like a yes no to prayer. That whole, he uses that season of our life to shape us. That is much deeper than just like, oh, God answered or he didn't. So that whole process, the journey of questioning, is evidence of God.
And sometimes when we're praying, we can be praying out of something that's selfish. We could be praying for maybe something that's restricting over our own lives. So, for example, you have a prayer is, one day I'd really like to be up here. I'd really like to be a professional dancer or something like that. But what if you can be someone who's even better than that, something even higher? So you're praying for a restriction on your life, you're settling for something. So when you don't get it, it's not God saying that, no, you just don't deserve it, you haven't earned it, you haven't done what is necessary for you to be that type of person. Instead he could be opening your eyes to something greater, showing that you have more potential in yourself than you realise or that you're seeing at the moment.
Yeah, don't limit yourself.
Don't limit yourself.
How cool would it be if you kept a prayer journal and you wrote down all these prayers? Because I think sometimes we focus on, this is the thing, we focus on the prayers that aren't being answered, and we forget to see that there are loads of things that are being answered and the things that we're being blessed with in our lives. So if we would just take the time to write down each of these prayers and look back at them 3, 6 months, 9 months away from now, look back on them and see, oh, it doesn't really look like it now, but now having written it down, wow, that was actually an answered prayer and I didn't even realise it.
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
That'd be.
Got anything else?
I say Psalm 62 verse 5, it says, "Let all that I am wait quietly before the Lord, for my hope is in him." So when we're praying, we need to be hopeful, not in the situation that we're praying for necessarily, but to who we are praying to. We need to know that, well, maybe not know, but at least be confident that, what I'm praying for, there's a possibility, I do believe that it can happen. You have to have hope, you have to have faith that whoever is up there, whoever it is you're praying to, God, that he can do it.
Preach. Have an awareness of his authority, that if he can do it for other people, he can do it for you. And believing and come to that prayer with that faith and that assurance that he can do it.
Yeah.
But if you come and you pray and you're like, oh, well, kind of like, you don't even believe it yourself, what kind of faith is that?
I'd say you don't need to worry about, that I'm not a devout Christian, I don't go to church all the time, in terms of your prayer. Not one Christian person, not even the most holiest person, has made it. No one's made it to the shore, no one's made it. Everyone, even if you're 50 meters out or something, and like you haven't prayed your 250 meters, you're far away from wherever you're seeing, and you see other people closer. The same person you're praying to, that they're praying to, that it will bridge the same gap for you. So it's not about you having to devote to be entirely Christian centered, or have the mindset always be going to church 8 times a week or something like that. It's more just, you need to just believe it in yourself that whoever is up there, that
he can do it. Yeah. The final thing is, God has never made a chair in his life. God has never constructed a table. He's made trees. so God gave us our intellect and our imagination, and he created trees. He's never created a chair in his life. Man's done that from what God has created. So God acts in these ways. He puts things with it. He gives us our intellect. He puts things within our reach, within the reach of our minds. But he takes it halfway, but we've got to meet him in the middle with our imagination and ingenuity, and we've got to use that imagination to do something with what he put in us or what he put in the world. So we need to take that tree and do something with it. So often we pray for stuff, because sometimes Christians tell us that God makes, we falsely say that God makes furniture. Well, God doesn't make furniture. He makes trees. And we're praying for this thing, and God says, I don't do that.
We do it.
We do that. That's our job. God's gift to us. He gives us opportunities. What we do with that opportunity is our gift to him. So he's given this thing to you. Yeah. Stop praying for that. Stop praying for this. Pray for that you would be equipped to turn that tree into a chair. Stop praying for chairs. God doesn't do furniture, okay? So don't get frustrated over praying for things that God says, I don't do that. That's your job. Meet me in the middle.
Yeah. It's like praying that you will get smarter, absolutely fine, but it's also praying that your grade boundaries are going to be lowered for your final exam. So if they don't get lower, then you're going to have to apply yourself in a way where you will get smarter. You're working hard, you're putting in the effort, you're finding new techniques to get yourself to the level that you are aiming for. Therefore, it's not that your prayer has become unanswered, but you've learnt new techniques, you've learnt new ways that are going to help you in the future. For example, for your GCSEs, for your A-levels, for university, how to approach a certain situation or a topic like that.
All right, so this is it's a difficult topic, and it's a journey. It's difficult, frustrating as well when you don't feel like those questions are being answered. But keep going on that journey. Keep asking these questions. Keep pushing.
It's how you develop. It's how you grow.
It's a tough journey. We've both been on it, and we're still going on it. But it's really worth the wait. So.
Yeah.